Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Tony Talks. Today is Monday, so we've got Marketing Mondays with Scott Martin. So Tony Talks, Get Up and Grow is a show where I have conversations with inspirational leaders, influencers, and change makers, people that aren't just doing well in life, but that are doing good in the world and sharing their knowledge, sharing their information to help make the world a better place, one person at a time, one life at a time, one business at a time. So today, like I said, Marketing Mondays, I have the pleasure of bringing my buddy Scott Martin back on with me. Here we go. He's already in the green room. There he is. What's up, brother?
How you doing? How's it going?
Listen, it's going great, man.
I'm glistening. We talked about this. I just got out of the yard. I was just got a little suntan lotion, so I got a little bit of that gleam, the summer gleam happening.
Listen, I've got a little bit of a tan going because this weekend I was doing the same thing you were doing. I was outside working on the garden. I was working with the bees. I was doing all kinds of stuff.
Last time we talked, you said you were going to show up to this with your bee suit on. Remember we talked about surprising people in your bee suit?
No.
Shit.
You know what? We should have had that conversation just before the show. I would have set up outside by the. You know what?
Okay, so at some point in time, so then we can somehow make some parallels between nature, bees, and marketing.
Listen, be happy is what I like to say. That's actually the name that I brand my honey with is Be Happy.
Is that your name? You branded your bee honey called Be Happy?
Be Happy, yeah. BEE Happy. Be Happy honey. Yeah, you don't want.
I got it right away. I'm pretty sure somebody else has used that.
Oh, sure. Listen, you don't want to know what I write on my egg cartons.
What did you write?
Just got laid.
Oh. That's awesome. Oh my God, that's actually really funny. Oh my God, that's brilliant. Yeah. Good copy. Check the box. Yeah. Check the box for the copywriting.
Well, listen, you gotta have a little fun while you're doing it. I
think in marketing, like good copywriting. Like, I think a lot of people do not understand that, at an ad agency, back when Mad Men, the number one job would be the copywriter. And it's still to this day, traditionally, an agency, it's the founders one of them was a copywriter or creative, right? And because copy drives so much of any marketing campaign, it can be so powerful. So Just Laid Eggs are a great example of just being clever, connecting with people and stuff. So.
Yeah, listen, like I said, what's that?
It's not to be underestimated, but I think a lot of people, I'm just working with a client about this whole issue around copywriting, and there's some pretty cool services available. And I think with this whole COVID thing, there's a ton of people you probably in your network you can ask for copywriting. I think a lot of people just dismiss it or they don't know where to go. And there's this great site. It's called writersaccess.com. I find this is a good little trick for people, and it's I think $39 a month, and they'll research and tie you in with a credible writer that understands your category and write an article for you, and you can set up the framework, the theme. I've had clients set up clients on this, and they'll do the research, they'll do majority. You still gotta be somewhat hands-on, but it's a great way to get really good copywriting. Now that's more like writing articles. What I was referring to before is really more like headline copy, which is really the creative, the essence, the words, the powerful words that you use in sort of marketing and so forth, which are becoming less and less important. The just do it taglines don't have as much weight as they do, as now it's just more about content.
Yeah.
So you gotta have a little bit more of a evergreen content copywriting.
Yeah, I think copywriting is brilliant. We had this conversation last week. I have a friend of mine who in a similar business, and he's a copywriter, and some of the stuff that he comes up with, when I first met
copywriters are witty.
Yeah, it's the wit. Well, see, I'm a humor guy, right? So if you're witty, you're quick, and you're snappy, you get me. You get my attention.
I did an entire podcast episode on humor, and with JP Sears. Do you know who that is? He's
he's funny as heck, man. He's great. I love listening.
So we did an episode talking because we're talking about doing some sort of webinar on teaching people about how to use humor. There's actually a process. You don't necessarily I mean, yeah, it helps to be funny, but there's actually some elements that you can use. And so just the impacts of using humor in business and to communicate. And he's a really smart guy. He's funny as hell, but he's got a lot of business acumen to him. I did a whole episode on marketing, or humor and marketing is no joke, I think is what it's called.
Oh, it's great. It's brilliant because look, I've used humor all my life to diffuse situations, tense situations, to get myself out of trouble. It was the way that I would find refuge or release from some of the stuff that I was having to go through. So, if you have something witty or something funny, it's a hook. You hook me.
It's connection. So it's about a connection, right? Like as soon as you make someone laugh, you connect with that person or that content, right? Like no matter how ridiculous it is, and then someone will send you something, they think it's funny and you don't. It didn't connect, right? So it's not all things to all people. Like all humor isn't the same, right?
No, not at all. Not at all. Listen, my just because you think you're funny doesn't mean it's true. Listen, I think I sound good singing karaoke, but that's only after I've drank enough tequila and nobody else thinks I sound good. So
I think I have the same problem. Yeah.
But listen, but yeah, going back to copywriting is such an important component of being able to just say what you do elegantly, say what you do and what product that you're or what idea you're trying to share, what you're trying to sell. It's everything. If you have bad copy, you have a great product, people might not be able to get to see it or hear about it because
I think good copywriting might be just saying less and saying, I think that's usually the bigger thing is because you don't know, when somebody doesn't really understand they can't communicate what they do, they probably spend too much time. They have to have a long explanation about what they do, right? So it's a good thing to copyright yourself so that you can communicate in a shorter way. Look at your copy on all the content, but at the same time, right now with COVID, this whole COVID, more people it's either snackable or long form. People really actually want to go into more in-depth content. So it seems anyways. Remember we went through the trends that I went through in the last episode.
Yep. No, it's brilliant. One of the things that we were talking about just coming into this call is we were talking about impact on a video and social media marketing, and the fact that some people are getting Zoom fatigue and web fatigue and everything else. I mean, speaking for myself, I know that this is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is my fifth event today. The other ones were video calls. Another one was a mastermind that I was helping to lead. Another one was just a morning huddle, 2 of them. And then I have, I still have another one tonight, 2 more tonight. So after a while, just me, like everyone else, you get a little tired of being online so much.
People are probably skimming. I think that with all the videos and all the webinars, tell me if this is true. So I'm finding myself, I sign up for a webinar, but I don't watch it. I'll wait for the replay because they always send it to you and go, hey, you missed the webinar, or in case you didn't, you can watch the replay. I just do it because then I want to skim and I want to look over what pieces I want to that I'm interested in. And I think that's a good cue for people that are building webinars, doing live events, is to maybe even do stock of at 10 minutes. We started talking deep about authenticity, and at 15 minutes we talked about this, and so that way somebody could go, oh, I want to. So that way they might be able to navigate. And I'm seeing some of the podcasts have their producers have little line items there, and I think it's quite clever for people that are going, because they're kind of doing this assessment: is it worth my time?
Yeah.
Am I going to get out of it?
This is a conversation we had weeks ago when I started. The first time you came on the show, just before the show or just after the show, we had that conversation. These shows that I do usually run an hour, right? An hour and 15 minutes, hour and 5 hour. I try to keep it close to an hour, but depending on the content, sometimes we go over. And I don't know if there's the right amount of time. I don't know if it's 30 minutes, 25 minutes, 40, 45 minutes. But your answer was brilliant, is what works for you. If it works for you, then you run with it. But it's hard to keep people's attention for more than a couple of minutes, right? Or 15 minutes. So, for those of you who come on and watch us and play with us this whole time, I appreciate you, by the way. But there is, and I don't know what that sweet spot is. I don't know what that answer is. And it's different for every person. It's different for every topic. It's different for every audience. But I am going to start doing that as well. As, hey, at minute 7, we start talking about this. At minute 15, we're on that, or 20.
A little more work on the production side, but maybe that, I just feel like now we're kind of in this new zone of people. I think time has become different, does it not? Like the days have run into each other, right? We don't know which days it is. Like the fact that it's I was like, I was thinking to Jill, I was like, I wonder if Tony's gonna do it. It's a holiday Monday. She goes, holiday Monday or a Friday or a Saturday. What difference does it make anymore right now? And I'm like, no, you're right. She makes a really good point, which is time has changed. So when you're thinking about but that with people, think about how much time you're now aware of the time it took me to drive to work, or I'm even aware of the time it takes for me to go. I'm working and I'm going, if I go downstairs, I might as well grab lunch because I'm downstairs. And I'm literally trying to save a trip to the downstairs, which is ridiculous. Like, I think that what's happened is people have become uber time sensitive. And I think that we're going to see, in my opinion, I think we're going to see more of a rating system or ways that people want to skim content. Not that it's going back to Snackable, which was the social media snippets, just going the long form, just being able to go, what is there something of interest here, and having a quick way to be able to connect to it. I'm only making this up right now. Like I wasn't like I was going and planning talking about that, but it's a theory. Is it true? I don't know, but my sense tells me that this will be something that would be important.
Listen, I love it. By the way, this is what I love about these shows is they are off the cuff. We have an idea of what we're going to talk about, but it just flows, and that's brilliant because it's so true. Is to be able to know. I love the idea because you're right. On podcasts, people do that, but that doesn't usually get done on video. But even then, that's definitely something that can be done. Deepak has a great one here. Zoom, zoom. It's like we're all in a Mazda commercial. Great reference. It's
totally.
True, right?
Well, to your listening to the show, especially Marketing Mondays. Oh, thanks, Danielle. You made something important. Everybody feels like Saturday when it's totally right. It's like, doesn't it? It's like it's Groundhog Day every day. You said something important, like, how long is the right amount of time? People are trying to listen and go, like, when do I post? When can I get the most? And I literally been working with several people that I think several people that I've met from here or otherwise asking the same thing. And I think you're chasing the trends a little bit. And I think that goes back to what I said on our last show, which is the book I'm reading right now, which is this one.
Authenticity.
And it's like, I think it's, I think it is curated content is the future. I'd be interested in, I'm going to have a little comment on that, is the authenticity, I believe, is becoming huge. It's like, and it goes back to that. Remember we talked before about trust and connection being the two biggest things? Well, authenticity is one of those things where you're going, you can't be more authentic. You either are or you're not, right? And you just say what you're going to be, and then people see it through. They go, yeah, that is authentic because you said that you were going to do that. And I think that with all the changes in COVID, like this, for example, I've noticed a whole bunch more people being more vulnerable, like kind of going online and going, it's like, and they're sharing their life story and stuff. I think it's great. I'm not saying anything bad about anybody that's doing that. But what I want to caution people to go is I look at some executives that talk to me going, do I need to start doing that? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, to me, it's like, is it authentic to you? It's always good to try new things. But I think if you're not really authentic, then it becomes unauthentic. Meaning, if you're trying to become vulnerable, just because you think that that's the trend right now, that now people want to be more open, I think actually being authentic, and I think that people see through it. I think being authentic is going to become to the rise of how somebody evaluates. And really, what does authentic mean? I think it's the new measure of quality. Does that make sense? Like, I actually think it's like the measure of quality of whether it's the show. So if you think of something's authentic, it doesn't have to be perfect. Something that's really authentic can be really like an authentic amp that a rock band likes. Is like sometimes there are these really beat up old amps that are an original amp. That's authentic. It has nothing to do with being new. It has nothing to do with being perfect. It has everything to do with the source, the congruency, and the sort of the feeling that it is real, right? And I think that's what a lot of people need to be mindful of is when they go here that you want to be more sort of honorable, or you need to go live. And I've got this article I'm writing. I'm just riffing right now because I don't even know where we're going with this. But I got this article I'm writing called Real Marketing, spelled REEL, Real Marketing. Because I believe that this trend of real marketing is what everybody's going online trying to be real with real feelings, real people in real time, like going live. And everybody's going, have you noticed your Instagram feeds? It's like it's lit up like a Christmas tree, live, right? Everybody's suddenly becoming this real marketing. And I think the real is actually becoming unreal. That's just my thought. And that's why I think it's really timely of doing an interview on my podcast with Joe Pine. He was Time Magazine's like on top most brilliant minds in marketing and business. And we're going to have a whole talk about this book. He wrote this like 15 years ago, this authenticity book. And it's unbelievably interesting how he breaks it down as a strategy. But it's like I read it again for the third time with new eyes, like with what's going on right now. And I really think that this is going to be part of that whole conversation about truth and connection, right? Trust and connection, right?
Yeah,
you trust things that are authentic, right?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think, and going back to authenticity, it's a word. It became a buzzword a couple of years ago, and everything's authentic. So everything's so authentic that nothing's authentic anymore.
Don't say be authentic. You can't just say I'm going to be authentic. You know what's authentic? Like your guest on Saturdays, Brian.
Yeah,
authentic. He totally knows his topic. He's super. Like he can fly off the cuff. You know that there's depth to it. That's authentic, right? Like. To me, that is what people are craving is authentic, not somebody who is just regurgitating what someone else has said, right? That there's some experience, like, or it's actually, believe it or not, it's actually authentic to say I don't know, and here I'm reporting on it, or here I'm talking about it. That makes it totally authentic. You don't have to know the talk. That's the thing I'm trying to say to people is I think that this authenticity thing is it's better to be authentic. Don't try to like fake it, like the whole fake it till you make it. I just don't. I don't think fake it at all. I think that is gone. That idea.
Yeah, Steve. Actually, hey Steve, good to see you. He says he was on the show with Brian on Saturday, and I invited him to this show. He's from Zero Shoes, XERO Shoes, minimalist shoes. So really good dude.
Yeah, it's sincerity. I 100% agree. It's like because that means when you're sincere, your intention. When you have an intention that's coming from the right place, then it serves you. Even if you make a mistake, you fumble around or you don't follow the trend or you don't do things right, whenever it comes to that place, people actually, I think, connect on that level and they create trust. 100% agree. And so you keep hearing this news and all this content in marketing going, we're now in an age where we got to be more empathetic. And this is where this came about, this whole authenticity thing, is I think that's a load of shit. Why?
Yeah, are you or not?
Hey, you need to be more empathetic, and then someone's going, "Oh shit, I gotta be." Hey, you know what? Like, it doesn't seem it's not real. It's not authentic. It doesn't come from intention and sincerity, like he was saying. And I think that's what people are doing is they're thinking of these things as a trend, is instead of really going, that's actually the lens that people are looking at marketing content and receiving it from. But as soon as you try to front load it with going, well, then I'm going to pivot and start being more authentic or be more empathetic, I think you actually are. You're not authentic. You're just not. It's not working.
Well, you remember, so many of the shows and movies in the past always had the takeout reel, the bloopers. Why do people enjoy those? Because those were authentic moments, right?
Those
were like
the best.
Bloopers are authentic, right? That's why. Listen, even these shows that we have, it's everybody that's watched it kind of knows they're not really. I'm not asking every single guest the same question. Heck, I may ask the same question every 5 or 6 episodes, maybe if it's appropriate. Outside of that, I don't have that set. Okay, so how did you do this? When did you do that? How old were you? Yeah, I don't go through that because it's more authentic to really go off the cuff. It's more authentic to.
Well, I'm gonna disagree with you. So when your guest said the future is curated content, he's also true. Because also, what's fair enough, like some other person to them, they're not connecting with the fact that you and I are kind of rambling around. We don't have an agenda. We're kind of, we're having this loose conversation, and it's not like boom, boom, doing certain things. Where curated content is, I know what to expect. It's totally only bringing the best of under a banner or a brand or a concept that's consistent. so that I know that when I'm coming there, it's curated for me or it's curated for the topic that I'm following. That someone could say is like unauthentic, but I disagree. It's authentic. The reason it's authentic is that it's right for that brand or that person. And I think that's what I think it gives everybody a laneway, because think of how many people are going, I couldn't do what you do. How many people said you going, Tony, I don't know if I could riff and show up on a show and just do it. Lots, right?
Yeah,
well,
many.
Does that mean that they're out of the game? No. It just means it's not something they're comfortable with, right?
You got to find their own way of doing it.
And I think that is like really the same. It's the same thing we just said in the last one, said differently, between trust and connection, is being really sincere and authentic to yourself and follow your gut and intuition and coming from a good intention and just focus on that with your marketing. It's like, I'm just feeling like the rules of marketing are really changing rapidly, and I'm loving it, because no longer can someone go like, follow these, I know that we have those like invite, delight, reward like we talked about. Those are guides, but like there's no like sort of like, this is what you do, and if you don't do it, you're like SOL. I mean, if you're a jerk, it actually might be good for you, because that might appeal to a small audience, and everybody else that rejects. It's like we talked about, it's better to be hated than ignored, right? So if everybody has their own truth, their own, authentic way of delivering things.
Yeah. And it's like, but it's like you said, I think authenticity is just when you come from the heart and you're doing things with the right intention and you're not faking it till you make it. The whole fake it till you make it, that I've never been a huge fan of that. I can't say that, when I was younger and listen, when you're younger and you're 20 years old, for example, I got into real estate when I was 18, right? I had to kind of fake it at that time, right? 18, 19, 20 years old. Now it happens. But when I was a real estate broker 30 years ago, or a real estate agent 30 years ago as a new agent, I was literally the youngest guy anywhere in my area anyway, doing real estate. So at that point, I kind of had to do the whole fake it till you make it thing. Oh yeah, no, I'm successful or whatever it is, so that you can get to where you need to get. But that got old quick. And what I tell people is it's important to be authentic, and it's important to be who you are and be really, and even in your marketing, what your business is, because if you're not being authentic, you're attracting, and now we'll just pull this back a little bit from marketing to make it personal, but you could also be fed into marketing. You don't want to attract the wrong customer. You don't want to attract the wrong people into your life, right? Because, talking about on a personal level, you don't want to, if you're faking it till you make it, you're attracting people into your life that aren't really like you are, that don't have the values that you have. So then who are you with really? Who are you becoming? Who's your company becoming? What's the culture of your company becoming? If you're going to be surrounding yourself with people that aren't really does that make sense?
It does. In fact, my son, he's graduating from design school, and we had this discussion about like, hey, I don't know anybody. I don't know. I got to kind of put on basically like a really good perception. I'm like, no, I go, in fact, you got an advantage that you don't even realize you have. It's like the whole big, small, small, big thing we talked about last time, right? Which is you only got one shot to say, I'm a graduate. I don't know anything. Can I just follow you because I want to learn from you or whatever, like using it on LinkedIn or something, right? Like you've only got one shot. Like when my kids were little, I like when we're selling Little League stuff, I'm like, you take advantage of the fact that you're little. Like I go, put Anna up front. She's even littler than you. You'll sell more. And it worked. Right? They're like, oh, it works. And I'm like, it's true with all things about being authentic and being true to yourself and attracting the right people and having the right energy is like, I think more and more people are going to be sniffing out stuff that is authentic and it can be curated at the same time. That's authentic too. I don't feel like it's like a black and white line where it's like you only have to be raw and real. You can be, for me, I'm not as comfortable. Like I've been struggling myself with doing that selfie Instagram type live thing. I've tried it a couple times. For me, it just doesn't feel as amazing. I know another CEO I was talking to was like, do I got to do that? And I'm like, it might feel unauthentic if you did it because some people are soft spoken. They're a bit of introverts. They might do better writing a blog or something. So I think you just got to follow what is right for you, for your personal brand or the way that you like to work and stuff, right? We're talking about all things marketing. I don't know.
Yeah, no, you're right. Listen, that's one of the things that and I don't know if I've ever told you this story, but when I started doing video, today was day 147, I think, right? Something like that, 147, no, 140. I don't even know what day it is of the year anymore, because I'm doing a video a day. And aside from this, I'm doing just a morning, either in the morning or at night. Today was, I think, 147 or 140. I don't,
Yeah.
It was 5:55 when I did it this morning. I don't really remember what day we're on of the year, but so of 366. So I committed to doing one every single day this year. How do you get better at something? You've got to embrace the suck, right? You've got to know that when you're starting in the beginning, that it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be, to some people, it might be easy from the very first shot. They grab and they run with it and they go. But more often than not, it's not going to feel that comfortable. But it's repetition, right? When you start doing it more and more, it's like working that muscle. You work that muscle out and you get better at it and better at it, more comfortable. You know, you were saying not everybody can get on and riff. Well, that's because they've not had the occasion. They've not gone out and done it. And you don't have to do it on video. You don't have to do it on a show. You don't have to do it on Facebook. But you can just have
private. Do it out for coffee. That's where you practice. Yeah,
exactly right. But I do believe that it's important to get out there, depending on the business, obviously, in the industry that you're in, to get out and make. I was having this conversation on a mastermind that I was on earlier that I'm running. I said, if you want to be an expert, be recognized, or the best advertising, or you want to be known for this, or you want to get the attention, you've got to start to get recognized as an expert in your field. Yes. And how do you do that? You go on and you do 2, 3, 4, 5-minute videos on Instagram, on Facebook. You know, I don't know, TikTok is not something that I'm doing yet, but I know that it's really big there. But become the expert by going out and sharing the information, the knowledge that you have. You know, and people say, well, you know, but I charge for the information. Okay, well, give it out for free. You know, you don't have to give out all of it, but give people value. And if people get enough value, they're going to seek you out, right? They're going to seek you out. Listen, I've not once marketed for any of my strategy clients, right? Coaching strategy clients, because I'm a life and business strategist and coach, right? But people come to me. They come and seek me out, and I'm grateful for it. Right. But when you're putting out content and you become an expert in what it is that you do, then you're going to be looked at in a different way. And you know what? It is going to be awkward the first couple of times. You know, I say this is not the first time I've said it here, but the first couple of videos that I did, I kind of I was talking, I kind of had my lip up. My wife's like, what's with the lip up on your videos? I'm like, I don't know. It's just awkward. I'm looking at myself in the phone. It just felt so awkward. My lip was up for like 10 days. And I was conscious of it, but I couldn't do anything about it. Right. And all those bloopers or, you know, you drop your phone, or, you know, I've done it where now I have a puppy and, well, he's a year old now, but he'll like run past me, like almost knock me over, and I'm doing a video or whatever. That's where the authenticity comes in as well, right? It can be real and raw. It doesn't have to be perfect. Sometimes perfect doesn't work or doesn't have the same effect.
Well, there's I'm trying to think of, there's the actor Ryan Reynolds. He just did a Mint Mobile commercial, and he shot it all by him doing a PowerPoint, and he just does a voiceover. It was super janky and it worked great. Like, that's because we're in a different realm now where I think overproduction is like a layer between you and the clients. There's a question up here. Do you feel that business can be made of anything as long as you have good marketing? Nope. I think good marketing can kill a business really fast, and I think the execution is it. Like, if execution is better marketing than marketing, like you can have no marketing and great product and have a business. Marketing, right. I don't want to overvalue marketing. I'm in marketing, and I think the best marketing is to have an incredible product. The more you spend on marketing is because your product is as marketable as it could be. So, yeah, I know it sounds kind of like a bit of a upside down answer to that, but that's the truth. The truth is, like, some products don't need money marketing. There's a lot.
And the reality of it is, if you have a crappy product and you have good marketing, now you're going to sell a bunch of crappy products. You're going to get pissed off, returns, bad press, this, that, and the other thing. Before you know, you have no business.
It's true. Actually, you know, good marketing will put a bad product out of business so fast, and that happens so often. Is that people do the fire, ready, aim, you know, kind of order of things. And that's why I have the sequence called build, give, grow, and move. And the reason for that is because you got to spend time building your processes and all of those things first before you're really going to grow. And so many people grow and then they go, well, I'll just figure it out when we grow. Well, that's where the wheels fall off the bus. See, stories are great, but sometimes folks want the cliff notes to preserve time.
Yeah,
True.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So
Yeah,
what you just said is brilliant as well, because I say it all the time that people are just afraid to fail. And I tell people that failure, and I don't want to say failure because you only really fail when you stop trying, but I'm going to say falling. Falling down is part of success, or we'll use the word failure. Failure is part of success. And one of the worst things that can happen to somebody is they get into business, they succeed really fast, and they're off to the races. They've got a great business. All of a sudden, boom, a failure comes. And sometimes they've grown so big, their exposure is so big that they can't recover from it, right? And that's the same thing that could happen with with the marketing. Right. So you can't recover from it. So just know that you're going to fall, and that's all part of it. Part of the journey.
You know, it's like I think so many people are buying into the grow fast, 10x this and explosive growth, and I can tell you that is not healthy. It's maybe what you feel that you want. What most people, they hail those stories, but they don't hear the fallout afterwards. All you hear is that they had this massive growth. More times than not, they then had broken systems, failed business follow through. The better businesses had a slower curve to get the processes down and then exponential growth. And I know that's kind of me marketing and me being in growth marketing and growth hacker seems kind of weird to say, but the truth is that you really need to have your processes and execution in place, your growth loops in place before you really want to put the gas on marketing and growth. And I mean, think of those movies you watch or stories or shows, and they show examples of restaurants. Like it's like they have a contest, you know, chefs opening a restaurant, and then they get so overwhelmed and then they crash, and then the people had really bad service. Right? Where another restaurant maybe had more steady traffic and that all had a good experience. You got to think about that is just like any other business in terms of what you can do. And so many people are in a hurry and they realize it's a blessing to actually grow sometimes a little bit slower. You just don't know it until you've seen, like I've seen, so many different businesses grow and then blow up. And it's because of execution. Failure of execution is the worst. Like think of, you know what? Like, do you guys ever remember weighted gravity blankets? Do you ever remember those? They were everywhere, right? And I bought one. True story. So and they blew up. They oversubscribed. They did a crowdfunding thing. They raised millions of dollars, like $11 million stuff. But then it came time to getting delivery, and it was a year later after the promised deadline, and there was comments, and I was one of them, right? That people are going, where's my blanket, right? And they hadn't delivered any freaking blankets. And I actually started, believe it or not, this is actually funny. I can't believe I just remember this right now. I actually started the anti-weighted blanket because you have to wait too long for it. And I started my own group, and it actually trended. There's like all the people that were having, they're showing me pictures of their of how sad they were because they didn't get their blankets. And then eventually the blankets came in. I got mine. I think they saw that I was running this group, and they did. I still have. You can still go on Facebook now and look up the anti-gravity blanket, right? That's my group that I started. It just shows that I'm a consumer. I had the power of totally, having galvanizing all the unhappy people, and there was thousands of people that were upset. They tried to launch other products, and I think that always hurt them. I really think that they would have been better in that situation, even if they were overwhelmed, to be honest, authentic, have direct. What they did was they didn't even have any phone numbers. What they did was they were overwhelmed. They shut down all communications, or it only enraged people. It's a good lesson there. When your execution fails, you need to step up on your communication. You need to be more forthright, you need to be able to more on the receiving end, or you'll totally damage your brand.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, it's like what we learned, the business cycle, in business mastery, right? The life cycle of a business. You can't go from infant to
you can't skip.
Or to adult. You can't do that. Just like, growing up, everybody wants to be, when you're 10 years old, when you're 5, you want to be 10. When you're 10, you want to be 15. When you're 15, you want to be 18. When you're 18, you want to be 21. And then you're like, oh shit. But you've got to go through the process because it's it's the time that it takes to get from A to B. And obviously you don't want to take, 30 years to get your business to where you want it to be, but it takes time. And when you put in, the right processes, you hire the right people, you get the right support system, you put things in place, then you're going to grow steady. And at some point that curve is going to take off, but you're going to have the right things in place to be able to manage and control that growth. And even then, that's going to plateau.
Oh my gosh. Right? I have a total story that I'm embarrassed to share, but I will, that I just thought of, that literally just this came up for me. And can I share my screen?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. I'm going to share something for you guys. Let me just first find it. So I'm, there we go. Okay. Done. I just want to make sure I've got it on my screen first.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll just fill the space while you're you're looking at that. But it is so important to remember to just slow and steady wins the race, right? Obviously, we all go faster, but imagine that your baby, when he started walking, he didn't just crawl and get up and fall, crawl, get up and fall, but instead he just got up and started running at 12 miles an hour and hit the wall. How's that going to work out? Right. And that's what winds up happening when something grows too fast. You go so fast that there's a turn coming up and you see the turn, but you're going too fast to slow down and you wind up hitting the wall.
So my number one chapter in my book that I'm coming out with Groundswell is called Patience is the New Growth Hack. And it's all based on what I learned from this mistake. So a quick background is, if you think of today, think of this whole COVID, how many online yoga studios, gyms, how many things have you seen online? Have you guys seen the growth of that whole industry? It has freaking exploded, correct?
Yeah.
Like
absolutely.
Big time. Like mind blowing, like people that have never used an online thing, whatever, right? Online workout, whatever, right?
Right.
So I'm going to play this for you, and then I'm going to tell you a story. This is my business that I founded 2 years ago, and I shut it down in June of last year. Let me
go full screen on that. Good video. Who did the marketing?
Okay, so that was, can you hear me there? Or you can probably click off the screen. So, so I had built this business, and I had edited 300 plus videos. We shot it in Bali, Hawaii, Mexico, Costa Rica. I don't know, all these locations. So you never would have the same workout in 6 months. You'd have, we literally had that many different workouts done, right? We had an app, we had a challenge, we had a following and so forth. And unfortunately, my business partner at the time was really just thinking that we needed to be somewhere further along. And then just basically said, look, you know what? This isn't working for me. It's not growing fast enough. And I was really disappointed because I was like, man, we need to play this through. And I probably could have tried to keep it, but I just really wasn't. She was the face of the business and doing the workouts. Otherwise it just wouldn't have been authentic, to be honest with you. So we shut it down. Had we stayed on that course, let me tell you, there's some pain here, right?
Had we stayed on that course right now, I would be making $1 jillions, right? Because we were ahead of the curve, because we already had a product, we had a following. And so many times I see this, and it's like when I want people to know, like when I say this about other people, I'm part of that because I run these experiments. I've been part of more disasters than I have been of successes, to be quite frank. And that's one. I'm proud of what we did. It worked great. Sorry for the noise. But the reality is that I learned a really valuable lesson, which is play it through, right? Be persistent. Don't worry about the growth being exactly where you believe it should be because you're trying to gauge it against how other people are, right? You really need to come in also with a realistic view of like what it's going to take to grow. Right now, more than ever, how many people are starting a new online business? And this is another point, personal brands. Like never before, your personal brand, how you present yourself on social media, the game just got up-leveled because more people are going to be competing for jobs, more people are using online, more people actually invested the last couple months improving their personal brands at a level that you've never seen, and it's just going online like at a heavy pace. You're going to have a little more patience. You're going to have to like really play it through, and I think that's I think a lot of times entrepreneurs and business owners, they underestimate the cash flow that they're going to receive. They have too much, at least in my experience, because they haven't proven the model, meaning they haven't proven the funnel. We hadn't proven our funnel yet. We had clients, but when I looked at the funnel that we hadn't figured it out. We hadn't cracked the code yet. And to me, that is the most important thing. Is like you got to keep trying. Like you're talking about being persistent. Just keep trying, keep working, making subtle changes, and then you crack the code. There's a really great video by Vanessa Von Edwards from that I passed on to a bunch of people recently. I could probably put the link in the footnotes, and it talks about the swan effect. The swan effect is everybody looks at everybody else, and they're like swans. They're like looking all like totally smooth. Like, oh man, Scott, you got like 5K personal friends, and wow, this guy's got it going on. And underneath, they don't realize it's the paddling for my life hustle, right? The people that are actually like really, you have no idea what's going on behind the scenes or how long it took. And when people make these sort of like examples of growth, there are no question. There's like these really interesting ones, but they're like, if you look on the bell curve, they tend to be really not necessarily the norm. If you look at the norm, usually by the time they've hit success, they were probably like 11-year startup, meaning they tried, they pivoted, they did. Oh, they got it. And then you think, well, they've only been doing this for like a year. They had the success, but you don't realize that maybe the story isn't quite that. And the reason I know it, because I'm the one that's on the side of helping brand, do strategy, repivoting the companies, renaming them, because it's their fourth time doing something, and they finally figured it out. That is the truth. That is the truth more often than not. But that's not to say that people don't have these great stories going, hey, you know what? I did 6 figures in 6 months. I see them all the time on Facebook selling their success stories. Here's my other cautionary tale. Is it duplicatable for you to do exactly what they did? Because they are not you, right? Go ahead.
Listen, we've all seen this graphic, right? This is what people think success looks like.
Yeah.
But this is what success really looks like, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're going all over the place. You're going all over the place because you just got to try to adjust, innovate, change, do what you've got to stay the course. Keith Cunningham has a great line. First of all, when you started talking about cash, I just hear him say spending cash, operating cash, and profits, or profits. Very different. All of them are different. But the one line that I love from Keith is get in line and stay in line. And I tell people all the time, if you're tired of starting over, stop quitting, right? Stay with it.
Keep changing, right? Some people just go, I'm going to do this. Oh, this isn't working. I'm doing this. They don't realize, like Vanessa Von Edwards, this YouTube, and I could probably share the link at some point. It's called The Swan Effect. She talks on the world domination stage about this effect. And what she shows is she goes, what you don't see, I'm on stage. I just did a TED Talk. But what you don't see, and you saw that on The Science of People, she's got this brilliant author, and you don't see that she wrote 3 books before that sucked. She shows, let me just be honest with you. It took me 9 years to crack the code on social media with no advertising. That's why I liked her, because she cracked it without advertising. But it shows her, she shows her back end, and it goes like this. You know, I mean, 9 years. How many of you would stick something through for 9 years? Honestly, like you look at a lot of people that are successful, it's not like, and I hate to say it in some ways, it's never going to be better to get acceleration than today, but there's also so much more competition. And there's going to be some people that are going to happen to have the right combination and timing, and they're going to accelerate. There's no, it's a bell curve, right? But the majority of people I'm referring to need to have this patience and play it through, stay in line. I think it's like, and stay true to yourself. Don't be like, hey, I'm going to one day do videos and then don't. And then I'm going to do this. And what you're doing is you're not giving a chance for your audience or people to really connect with you in a meaningful way, right? So like, for example, we did this one Marketing Monday. We've been doing it every Monday, you know, and part of me was eating my own dog food going, let's play this through. Let's be consistent, because it gives a chance for people to show up and for us to be able to kind of get a bit of a rhythm.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a flow. It's when you start to get into that flow and get that momentum, you start to move, you start to go. But so many times people just don't have the patience because they think, again, it's people looking at, you know, your chapter, their chapter 3, comparing it to your chapter 20. You know, you can't do that. You know, and to your point with Eleanor, right? Was it Eleanor? Sorry, Vanessa. Sorry, I'm so bad with names.
Yeah.
Vanessa. She was that 9-year overnight success. It wasn't an overnight success. It took 9 freaking years. You know?
And the thing is, though, I was like on the 11th hour, had I just stuck it out, we'd only been doing it for a year. It wasn't that long. If we did it like just a little bit longer, it would have been like kabloomed, right? Like you just don't know. The most important thing, I think, is if you're true to your mission, your passion, your intention, and your craft, like you're really love it. If you're just going, I'm just doing it because on trend, you're gonna have trouble, because you're gonna get lucky sometimes. But I think that people that just try to follow the money, like just try to go, yeah, this is because really this channel, Instagram's hot and this product's really hot. Those people are constantly going to be chasing, and they're going to get lucky. And it's like gambling; you get lucky sometimes. But if you're really trying to build your personal brand, I think people that are on this are really genuinely, like, I think based on the people that I've seen talk, they're all people looking for making a meaningful difference in people's lives. You're going to play it through anyways with your mission. Don't mess around with certain things. Some things you want to go, what am I doing consistently to connect with people? And try different things, but play it through. Like, just have it, like when I talk about doing a test, it's not one time, it's not a test, right? Testing something means it's basically, there's actually a testing methodology, right? It's called deductive reasoning. When you're doing marketing and advertising, sort of like marketing experiments, what you do is you test your we'll say it's one campaign or something, and all you change is one variable. And you keep doing one variable, because you can tell the difference between two. Because if you change more, if you notice that some people change too many things, well, you don't know what actually made the difference.
Right.
To me, that it's called, that using that one variable to make a difference, it allows you to kind of move forward. And think of every time you didn't get it right, it got worse. It gave you enough information to get it right. Yeah. It's actually amazing. It's not that you're not. People think of it like I'm doing this deductive reasoning to hit the jackpot. No. You're doing deductive reasoning to get refinement, and even the fails that pushed you back, it moves you, it rapidly accelerates where you should be going. It's a little bit like a guide too. It's not as much of dropping off and putting on. It's also a bit of a guide, right, in terms of what works and what doesn't. Might be time of day. It might be type of product. It might be type of guests. It might be type of curated content. I don't know. Everybody has different variables, but you need to be testing. And I think it's like, and so when people come up with tests, we may have said this before, but I'll say it again. There's this methodology when you have all these ideas in your head about going, well, I need to grow and I need to try different things. It's called ICE. Did we mention this before? Maybe I'll say it again if it isn't.
Say it again.
Okay, so ICE represents, what I would recommend everybody do is write down ICE, and I represents impact. Impact to what you're trying to do, whether it's get results, get sales, whatever it is. C stands for confidence. How confident are you that you can do this? And ease, how simple is it? And what you do is you just create a spreadsheet. And every time you have an idea going, hey, I should do live broadcast, scale it from 1 to 10. 10 being great, 1 being really hard, right? Like not very good. So, in confidence, impact, this would have great impact, confidence. I'm not very confident, maybe give it a 5. And then ease, It's super simple. I just need to know the tech, or maybe you don't know the tech, but somebody else does. Like, you just rate it based on your resources, your current situation, understanding. You just rate your projects, or rate the different experiments you want to do. By doing that, you're always going to have people just do random things all the time. This creates a prioritized way to make sure that you're doing the most valuable thing to your outcomes, like RPM, that you can possibly do for your marketing. So to me, it's fail-safe way of like trying to figure out how to grow and be patient with it. Because when you're patient and you see, isn't it true that you're patient if you just knew something was working? Like, what makes people impatient is they don't know what's working and not working. Yeah. So they give up. But for me, I'm not giving up on anything I'm doing. Even that, I wouldn't have given up. It was my partner, is because I know I see the little windows. And I'm like, ooh, okay, it's getting a little better over here. I'm filled with so much energy and hope because I'm like, I know what not to do, and I know a little bit more than I did yesterday.
Yeah. Well, it's a shame.
Just before the call, we just talked about results on the call. I literally asked them. I said, what has been the difference between myself and the other speakers? And by the way, are you feeling a difference in the fact that it's early on in COVID, now we're into COVID, because I'm seeing a lot of attention starting to fucking drop.
Yeah. Well, the numbers are starting to drop a little bit because, again, people are also getting that fatigue of so much content.
There's summer out, people are getting out of the house more.
Yeah. Well, they're getting out of the house more, and again, everybody's got something to say, and some people are worth listening to more than others. But thank you for sharing that story, because again, it humanizes you, and it humanizes people that are out there doing it. And obviously you've lost a lot of money because of it, right?
Well, I think it is. I experienced a lot of money. I'm a marketer. I had at my fingertips, because I know how to edit, I know how to do all this stuff. I had basically the equivalent of an unlimited budget for marketing, right? And I ate it because I wasn't patient. Like, seriously, like, don't be hard on yourself if you're listening to this. Like, I'm totally guilty of like not following my own fucking advice. And I see it now straight as clear as day, and I won't make the mistake again. And I hope you don't. But the key is that, just because you feel that you don't have the marketing or I don't have the budget, it's not true. Look at me. I had all the tools, every trick in the book, and I still tanked, right? So it's like, I think a lot of people are more harder on themselves than they need to be.
Yeah. Well, listen, it reminds me of, and I think this was Frank Sinatra's line, but now I love to share it as Frank Sinatra's line. He says, experience comes from good decisions, or rather, good decisions come from experience. And where does experience come from? Making bad decisions.
Yeah.
Right. So it's all part of the journey. It's part of growing up. It's part of not going so fast, right? And hitting the wall. So
I look at it as a gift. That whole thing blowing up was a total gift. I now know that I don't want to have a business partner that I want to have control of. I gave me the gift of patience is a new growth hack, which is one of the biggest mindset changes I've had about growth. It's my first chapter of my book, which is pivotal to helping people because I'm seeing this pattern being repeated. It's actually one of the biggest short-term thinking is one of the biggest problems we have in mindset for business today, in my opinion.
Well, listen, again, it's that over the 20-year overnight success. People just see they just see the highlights, or they just see the success. They don't know the 5-10 years of struggle. One of the graphics that I love to see is there's a guy on a podium and he's holding up a medal or holding up a flag, and everybody, is just looking at him from the front. It's like, oh, look, it's so easy. But in the back, it's these steps and all jagged and they're full of blood because he had to climb all the way up there. Now he's standing there, but nobody knows what the hell he had to do to get up there. He had to climb the rocks, the shards of glass, and he had to suffer and pay the price. And that's not to say that you have to suffer through creating a business. I'm not saying that. There certainly is a level of that, right? Whether it be through frustration or through fear or through whatever it is, we all have a level of suffering, but nobody knows what it takes to get to the top until you're in it. So, it's just interesting. It's fascinating. What I would just encourage
you said Keith Cunningham, right? Yeah. Keith Cunningham is an incredible speaker because he lost $250 million. It puts him in a whole different. Imagine starting over and losing it all. The lessons he's learned. So then he moved on as a gift to teach people not to do it again. Every time that we as entrepreneurs get these nosebleeds, I think that anybody that's really working on their mindset, probably does go, it's a gift, but I don't see it right now. I didn't see it then until just recently, that literally, like, even though that was a chapter of my book, until today actually was the day that I shared it with a couple other people that needed some insight on this. It's ironic that we'd even bring it up, that smallness, because I don't really share that story. And I hope that serves somebody. But to me, I'm going, that was a gift. Because now that maybe somebody's listening on this, they're somewhere in their business and they're having these thoughts and they're going, I'm going to play through, and I just may have saved them what could have been one of my biggest, success stories, to be honest with you.
Listen, one of the things I say all the time as well, again, I'm all about the quotes, right? One of the things I say all the time, and I started saying this to a client of mine and a friend of mine last year in March, is that your story is maybe yours, but it's not yours to keep, it's yours to share, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because the story of where you've been through could be somebody else's way out, their survival guide, their roadmap, or whatever it is. It's all about sharing stories. So I thank you for sharing that story. And I'll be the first to say, I've had some success in my life, but I have had a lot of failure. I've had betrayal. I've had, you name it. I've lost more money than whether it was through maybe a bad deal or through, unfortunately, bad partnerships or whatever it is, and all of those things have allowed me to grow, have forced me to grow. And all those things, those mistakes, those drops, those failures, those dings, those black eyes, they all teach you how to be better moving forward, so you don't make those same mistakes. So that you.
Oh, I think if you do it, even say someone's an employee, I've actually coached many CEOs. They're talking about, like, they're trying to hire like a CTO, right? Because if I'm in that role of advising marketing, technology tends to be somehow aligned with that sometimes, with some of the software companies. And one of my biggest things I say is, if you're going to have a CTO, make sure that they can express when you're interviewing them, tell them, they have to be able to be a part of some unbelievable disaster. If not, don't hire them. Why? Because if somebody in that capacity hasn't had the world come down on them technically, they're not actively going and almost shell shocked by making sure that they're thinking of everything. Because then they're just going, oh yeah, I just follow my process and things work. Eventually, that's just gonna be called. That's just gonna fall apart. And to me, I go in that role. You want somebody, and I think a lot of times when people go, I don't have those big wins, you guys should be going, if you're talking to an employee, if you're trying to hire somebody or you want to partner with somebody, treat it like a total, flip it on its end, going, you want me because I know exactly what not to do. In fact, this makes me so concerned about the quality or care or follow through of what we're doing for execution that I never want to be part of that again. That's exactly why I'm to me, that's actually equally, and for the smart entrepreneur, they'll hear that. I think that's really a really great. I mean, I like people that have been in the war. They've been through stuff. Don't you agree when you listen to a story from a business owner that goes, hey man, I just did these 4 things and I made billions of dollars. It was great. How boring. How nice for you. But for everyone else going, hey, I failed 20 times, but 21st time I figured it out. Here's my secret. I want to listen to that guy.
That's it. Listen, the guy who has fallen down, or the guy, what is it? The guy at the top has fallen down more times than other people have tried. Right? Yeah. So listen, just keep going for it. Again, to quote Keith Cunningham, I love that guy. Get in line and stay in line. Just make sure it's whatever. One of the reasons why you want to do what you love is because it's going to allow you to stay in line a lot longer, right? Try to do something that you love, because it'll be
authentic to what you're doing and who you are and all that kind of stuff, right? It's as long as you're authentic. If you're just doing it for trend or just money, then sometimes it makes sense to just cut and run. But I mean, for people that have a mission, they're working on their mission and they have purpose, just got to play it through. I lost money. I feel angry about it. I try to block it out of my mind.
Yeah,
don't try to block it out of your mind. It's part of your story. I think blocking out of your mind means that you don't want it to be present. Make it present. I actually think you embrace it. Find a way to look at it and go, how is this? What am I not seeing? How is this serving me? It's probably serving you. You got to admit to yourself that going, I will never do that again. Well, just take that and enjoy it. Go, I'll never have to do that again. Check that box.
Oh yeah, I say it all the time that I've got a doctorate in environmental sciences from Harvard, I mean, I don't, but I've spent so much money on environmental cleanups or not doing the right assessments or not finding out ahead of time that it's cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars to clean things up that I could have, should have, would have. You know what? I learned, and it sucks. So you know what? Just take it. Just like Scott said, it's just part of your story. Let it go. Forgive the incident. Forgive the person that maybe led you astray, and forgive yourself for whatever it is that you feel, because forgiveness is the key to letting all that shit go. Trust me. Oh my God. If I was gonna,
that's the hardest part is when you do it to yourself and you think you could have known better. I've got a terrible story that I just told somebody about just recently. I was landscaping my backyard. I live on a hill. It's a really big drop. And it took me 6 years to build my backyard. I did it all myself. Because when I lived in Hawaii, I used to do landscaping in Hawaii when I was living in Hawaii, trying to chase my surfing dream. And landscaping, I learned a lot. So I did it myself. But the bottom of my yard, there's like a 7-foot wall. And this is a true story. Like, this is embarrassingly true story. It took me 2 years to build that wall. I literally dug it out, dug the trench, built up the wall. The entire time I'm looking at it every day, staring at the problem, thinking about it. And what I didn't realize, even though after 2 years, I had dug all the dirt and I put it on the wrong side of the wall. Imagine that, how stupid, I'm an idiot I am, that I'm literally, I knew that I had to manually pitch the dirt on the other side of the wall, but you're so close to your problem, I didn't even see it. It's like my dad. I remember my dad told me when I was like, when I first started a project, his exact words were, "Hey, just remember, don't move dirt twice." That's his mantra when you're doing landscaping. Fuck, did I move dirt twice? So it's so funny because I was so close to the problem. I'm like literally standing on it. I'm like, how can I not know? Like, if anybody would just go, "You're an idiot." But sometimes that's a real story about business. You're so close to it. You don't even see that you're digging and making your problem more. Yeah. And sometimes that's why you need outside help, I think sometimes. That's probably a story about having that perspective.
That's right. That's why it's great to hire someone to help you with your marketing. That's why it's great to hire a life and business strategist to help you grow through whatever you're going through, to help point out your blind spots, right? Yeah. As the saying goes, Tiger Woods has 3 swing coaches because he can't watch his own swing. So listen, it's important to just keep going, keep growing. So, Mr. Scott Martin, we are just over an hour. Any final words for this episode of Marketing Mondays?
Thanks for having me.
Listen, thank you for being here. By the way, this is episode 97.
Woo! Sweet. Yeah. Congratulations. You're going to hit 100 soon.
Yeah, I got to see, who am I going to put on for 100? I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, someone big.
Yeah.
Maybe you do a solo episode.
Hey.
Have you done a solo episode?
Not of this. I mean, I've done.
Tony Talks. Why don't you do a solo episode?
I've done plenty of video. For 20 minutes, 30 minutes, just by going off on a rant on something, interacting with the audience. But we'll see. But yeah, the 100th episode is coming up. Shoot, that's going to be Thursday. Damn.
Great. You should do a solo episode.
I got to start either that, or I got to make some serious phone calls tonight or tomorrow. See who I can shake up. So anyway, with that said, listen, I appreciate everyone for watching. Please share this video if you think that there's valuable content on here. Share this video, tag your friends, do whatever you've got to do. Obviously, we're on YouTube, so follow us on YouTube, join, subscribe on YouTube, and of course, follow my good buddy here, Scott Martin, at tribe.com.
Groundswell.fm.
Groundswell.fm for the
my podcast. I've got a ton of free content.
What's that?
I've got a ton of free content there.
Yeah, groundswell.fm for sure. And also, if you want to follow them on Instagram, it's tribe.echo. So with that said, my friends, I appreciate all of you. Certainly, you know how to find me on Instagram. I'm Tony Rodriguez 2.0. Let's see. A couple more comments came in here. Anne-Marie says, thanks, guys. LOL, don't move dirt twice. My son is starting a plants business. I'll use that on him. Absolutely. Do the best of Tony Talks. That's
a great idea.
That's a great idea that Scott and I have been talking about as well. That might
remember we talked about, you going to do it?
That might be something fun coming up. Anyway,
Yeah.
I appreciate you, my friend. Thank you all for watching. Remember, my friends, that life is not about how many times you fall. It's about getting up after every fall. And remember, and this is so appropriate for today, it's in falling down that you learn. It's in getting up that you grow. And every single time you fall, you have the opportunity to get up and grow and create that groundswell. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for watching. Ciao for now, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks, Tony.
Ciao.